And then there is the most dangerous risk of all. The risk of spending your life not doing what you want on the thought you can buy yourself the freedom to do it later. How many years from now will it take? How many years from now will you be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you did do? Hello, this is Sandra Hart at Life Over 60. Welcome. So nice to have you here today. Now, when you look at the title, you're probably not realizing what I'm going to say, maybe a little bit surprised when I talk about self-care habit that has changed my life. I'm taking my own advice. Well, remember last week's conversation when I said that to do and not just sit and think about it, but actually do anything, because if you do, that means that you are actualizing some of your dreams and getting things done, and it will happen for you. Well, I have decided to take my own advice. I am so used to traveling with Arthur. We love to travel together, and it was such a wonderful experience, all the places we've been and the things that we have done. But since COVID, and because he was ill for a while, we have all, and I'm sure you agree because you're in the same position, we've all kind of been stuck, haven't we? For quite a while, we've been actually stuck. And now that my circumstances has changed, I am going to think about a little self-care habit that I have neglected for a long time, and that is getting unstuck and to start traveling. I am going, after you see this video in a couple of days, I will be flying high to Dallas, Texas, to see my granddaughter and to meet my daughter there. And we're going to be supportive of McLean and her wonderful Transy Pioneers women basketball team in the NCAA tournament. I am going to get unstuck and I'm going to start traveling solo to cheer on my granddaughter and her wonderful women players. It is hard because when you are used to traveling with someone and sharing experiences with someone that you love, it is very hard to venture out on your own. I really understand that so much. But they say, and I have to agree, that traveling is a self-care habit that you should embrace. When you travel, it breaks up whatever you're doing. It breaks up the mundane. It breaks up the day in and day out part of your life. And especially because we're going into summer, at least in this part of the world, it is so easy for us to travel. Now, you don't have to fly across the country. You can go to a local hotel and just stay overnight. Anything to break up that day in and day out life that we all have been doing, especially since COVID. And I think women, perhaps more than men, are more inclined to ask them questions of, who am I? Where am I going in my life? And what is going to make me happy? And I have asked myself those questions lately because of my different circumstances. And I know that it's time for me to start flying high and to begin enjoying my life again. And even though I will be flying solo, I know that most self-care things we do are solo. We have massages, pedicures, manicures, just doing yoga. Most of those things we do alone. We do by ourselves. We meditate. We're alone. So traveling also and getting out of your routine is part of that self-care habit that we should all begin doing again. Now, I know it is hard if you're caring for someone and if you have family obligations. And in this economy, we're all pinching pennies because I can't believe how expensive everything is when I go to the grocery store or when my daughter and I go out to eat. It's it's a shocker. It really is a shocker. So I understand. But think about something that you can do to travel even for the day somewhere, to a museum, to a park, to even a hotel overnight, or just travel somewhere for the day by yourself, just to get out of that humdrum daily routine that all of us, and I think women are more prone, especially because we are caretakers and we're used to doing all of these tasks for other people, that it's about time that we break that cycle and just take a day or a weekend or a week to do some solo traveling. When you view a trip as therapy, it is so much easier to get in that car and go visit somebody, or it's so much easier to buy that ticket if you know that it's therapy and it will make you feel good. Somehow that really energizes me, and it should energize you as well. There are certain things that when I have read about traveling and solo traveling and how it is a self-care habit that we never really think of, I never thought of traveling as a self-care before until I started doing some research. But there are things that you can do that really do help you when you travel and that actually happen to you when you travel, especially when you travel solo. It improves your mental health. It keeps you calm and makes you more positive. And I know that when I do travel, even when I traveled with Arthur, I came back and I had more creativity and I was inspired some by the cultures and the different things I have seen and the people I have seen. And as a matter of fact, my daughter and I went up to Boca Raton. We were invited by a friend of ours that Brett was friends with and met as a flight attendant. They were both flight attendants, but she comes from this huge Italian family. And one of her friends has opened a restaurant, Italian restaurant in Boca Raton. So we went up there and had a table of 12. All of them were part of the families, the restaurant owner and her Uncle Vinny, and just wonderful people. And we laughed and listened to good Frank Sinatra music. They had someone singing their live Frank Sinatra music, and just meeting different people and getting out of our beach life here in South Beach. It was so fascinating and it was so much fun. And coming back here, gave me a renewed purpose and gave me really truthful incentive to do this video, because just getting away for that one night, meeting new people, and finding out wonderful, interesting things about their culture and how they grew up and the delicious Italian food is I had pappardelle with wild mushrooms and it was absolutely delicious. But just getting away for those few hours was therapy for me and for my daughter. Traveling helps you and to relieve that stress and anxiety that you have. For women that I know who have wonderful solo travel agencies, Janice Waugh, solotravelers.com. Corrine Lawrence, a friend of mine that I met on a cruise, is from Toronto, Ontario, and she has wonderful solo groups that are really smaller. I'm going to put all these links below so you don't have to worry about it. And also Kelly Lewis, who I met. She interviewed me for her book, Tell Her She Can't. And she has a group for younger solo travelers, women, maybe in their 20s and to the 45 years old in that group. So if you're younger and you want to go solo and feel safe, her group is very well known and very famous. And that's one site for her. And also Suzy Davis has a wonderful, and Suzy used to be a flight attendant, and she does wonderful solo travel for women as well. So these are just some of the contacts. I know maybe in your area, in your town, you have someone who can help you with solo travel. I am beginning to live again, and I am looking forward to solo traveling and this new life and in this new adventure that I'm on. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care, and I will see you in my next video.